call the regular board meeting. That's in order. I'll have a roll call vote.
Supervisor Gardner,
Here.
Councilperson Mahon. Here. Councilperson Bidden.
Here.
Councilperson Miller.
Here.
Councilperson LaFors.
The minutes were all sent out to all the members, acceptance of the minutes of the last meeting.
You do them all up together or one at a time?
We moved it all. Get a second?
I'll say.
Can't do them all here. I wasn't here for the emergency meeting on the 16th.
Okay. Roll call.
For the April 9th meeting, Supervisor Gardner,
Yes.
Councilperson Mahon. Yes. Councilperson Bidden.
Yes.
Councilperson Liston.
Yes.
Councilperson LaFors.
The emergency meeting.
Emergency,
Do you
is there any additions or deletions on that?
I'm gonna abstain on that because I wasn't here.
Yeah. I need a motion. Second.
I'll say.
For the April 16th, Supervisor Gardner,
Yes.
Councilperson Mahon. Yes. Councilperson Garvey,
Abstain.
Councilperson Liston,
Yes.
Councilperson LaFors.
Yeah.
I'll open the floor up for public
We
comment.
got one.
Oh, one more?
April 24th.
Oh, there you go. Yeah, okay. Is there any, for the April 24th meeting, is there any additions or deletions? Any motion for certain?
I'll move.
I'll second.
For the April 24th meeting, Supervisor Gardner,
Yes.
Councilperson LaFors,
Yes.
Councilperson Garvey,
Yes.
Councilperson Liston,
Yes.
Councilperson LaFors. Oh,
Fine, yes.
fine.
Of course, you don't get both votes to be honest.
I vote for you.
You want to vote for me tonight?
Go early and go down.
And, I'll open the floor up for public, and, remember that there's a three minute limit. If there's no questions or anything, we'll move on. Resolutions.
Do I have to read all 4 pages? Huh?
One at a time.
We'd probably do it by number, couldn't we?
Yeah.
I refuse to
Do
read.
it by the number.
I'll make somebody else read it.
Should have been we're supposed to start first, so. I didn't know we started off with the second.
And we had public hearing.
I said to myself, I don't read out, I did it second.
We can make that.
I did.
Resolution 53, 2015, Town of Essex, County of Essex, State of New York, Town of Essex zoning law addition 2015 amendments, supplementary full EAF, notice of the seeker, determination of significance, negative declaration.
You need a motion?
Yeah.
I'll move it.
I'll second. I don't know, whoever.
Any comment? Discussion? There isn't, roll call vote.
Supervisor Gardner,
Yes.
Mark Wisley,
Yes.
Sarah Klein,
Yes.
Ryan Garvey,
Yes.
James LaFors.
Yes.
Resolution 54, 2015, Consistency Declaration. The Town of Essex Town Board has reviewed the proposed change in the zoning law to determine if they are consistent with the local waterfront revitalization program adopted in December of 2002. In this regard, it looks specifically at proposed changes in the boundaries of the Shoreline Overlay District. Since these revised boundaries are almost identical to those of the original district, the town board believes that adoption of the amendments is consistent with goals and policies of the LWRP because it affords the same level of protection to these lands when considered along with other laws adopted by the town.
Need a motion?
Yes.
Second?
I'll second.
Is there any discussion? Roll call vote.
Supervisor Gardner,
Yes.
Councilperson LeBon,
Yes.
Councilperson Garvey,
Yes.
Councilperson Risley,
Yes.
Councilperson LaForest.
Yes.
Resolution 55, 2005, zoning law amendments, local law number 1, 2015.
This will be the introduction of local law number 1 of 2015.
Whereas the town board in 2003 adopted the Town of Essex zoning law and it has been in effect since that time. And whereas the town board has received from the Town of Essex Planning Board recommended amendments to the zoning law of the Town of Essex, including a map entitled Proposed Essex Zoning Map Changes, which set forth proposed changes to zoning classifications of certain lands. And whereas prior to making such recommendations, the planning board conducted extensive deliberations, meeting and consultations with the public and various interested parties. And whereas the town board of the Town of Essex held a preliminary public hearing on the proposed amendments and map at its meeting held on December 31st, 2014. And whereas the town board held a duly noticed second public hearing on the proposed amendments and map on May 14th, 2015. Whereas the proposed amendments to the zoning law and map have been duly introduced as local law one of the year 2015. Whereas the town board, prior to adoption of this resolution, has completed an environmental review under the State Environmental Quality Review Act, or SEQR. Now therefore be it resolved by the town board of the Town of Essex as follows. The town board hereby adopts local law number 1 of 2015 entitled 2015 Amendments to the Town of Essex zoning law. Number 2, the town board directs the town clerk to publish a copy of the amendments to the zoning law or a summary of abstract of them exclusive of the map once in the newspaper having a circulation in the Town of Essex, and to file local law number 1 of 2015 for the New York Secretary of State, and to file a copy of the amendments in the map in the town clerk's office. And local law number 1 of 2015 shall be effective 10 days after the publication referenced above and upon its filing with the New York Secretary of State. The foregoing resolution is duly adopted by the town board at its regular meeting held on May 14th, 2000, vote of its members as follows.
Need a motion?
I move it.
Is there any further discussion? Roll call vote?
Edward Gardner, Supervisor.
Yes.
Mark Risley.
Yes.
Claire Pine.
Yes.
Brian Garvey.
Yes.
James LaForest.
Yes.
Somebody says, this is my Oscar acceptance. Seriously, a lot of people were involved in this over a long, long period of time, and I want to publicly thank them. I want to thank Ron for starting the process. I want to thank Steve Seward, who initially chaired the revision committee on which I served. I want to thank Don Hollingsworth, Claire LaPine, Ted Cornell, and Jim LaForest, who served with me on that committee. I want to thank Ed, who encouraged me to complete the revisions work and who supported it wholeheartedly. I want to thank Kathy DeWolf, who provided essential clerical, administrative, and moral support. I want to thank Ann Holland, who prepared thorough and excellent seeker reviews. I want to thank Bill Kissel, who guided us through the legal tangles associated with law and revision and critiqued the law as it was revised. I want to thank Brian Househeel, who, while he was with the Adirondack Council, provided funding to support Ann Owen's work, and who critiqued the work and made helpful suggestions. Bob Summers of New York Agriculture and Markets, and Anita Deming of the Essex County Cooperative Extension, both made suggestions for additions to the law that strengthened support for agriculture in Essex. Frank Shirley, Sean Reynolds of the DEC, and Brian Greasy of the APA provided assistance with the new forestry sections. Brian also critiqued other portions of the law and traveled to Essex to meet with the town board. Matt Kendall of the APA spent countless hours developing and revising the excellent maps that are an important part of the revised law, and Matt came over here several times to meet with us. Chris Marin and CATS members provided useful critiques of proposed land use changes that resulted in the retention of the classification of low-intensity lands in the western part of the town. Lauren Murphy provided numerous helpful insights and assistance. John and Marion Clipper and others effectively advocated for retaining the existing density requirements in the expanded hamlet. Harold McDougall, while he served on the town board, provided helpful input. Andy Labruzzo of the New York State Department of State provided helpful assistance regarding the shoreline overlay district, including the consistency declaration you just passed. And John Misick, our resident preservation architect, who provided a lot of helpful insights regarding the historic district. So it's like anything, it's a whole bunch of people cooperated and helped, and I want to thank each one of them personally. It's been a very, very long time. It's good to have it finished, but there are other things to do.
Resolution 56, 2015, time clock policy. This is the purpose of this policy is to outline the time clock policy of the town of Essex. All employees exempt and non-exempt are required to use the time clock system to record their hours worked. Non-exempt employees are required to clock in and out for payroll and attendance purposes. The time clock records will be used to track attendance for exempt employees. If there is a problem with time clock, employees should notify their supervisor, who will in turn notify the appropriate office personnel. Employees should clock in no sooner than 10 minutes before or after their scheduled shift and clock out no later than 10 minutes or before or after the scheduled shift. Non-exempt employees are required to clock in and out for lunch breaks in addition to the beginning and end of the day. If an employee misses the window for clocking into the timekeeping system, the employee should notify the supervisor as soon as possible. The supervisor will manually enter the employee's work hours and initial beside the entry. Employees who repeatedly miss time clock entries will be subject to disciplinary action. Employees are required to clock out at any time they leave the work site for any reason other than assigned work duties. Employees must clock out for their designated lunchtime if they are on site on the property the clock is located, but should not clock out for designated break times. If an employee is working off-site at their designated lunchtime and does not plan to return to the workplace to eat their lunch, due to the hardship or inconvenience it may cause, the employee does not have to clock out, but must notify their supervisor they ate lunch off-site before they punch out for the day. The supervisor will then make a hand notation on the time clock card. Employees may not clock in or out for any other employee overtime. Non-exempt employees are permitted to work overtime only with prior authorization from the supervisors. Overtime includes clocking in early or late or working through the scheduled lunch period. Non-exempt employees who work overtime without prior authorization will be subject to disciplinary procedures. Supervisors are free to use discretion and disciplinary actions when employees have various elevate repeated offenses to the timekeeping policy or procedures. Situations include when employees may have clocked in but are repeatedly absent from their workstations during work hours or have missed time clock entries in addition to working unscheduled overtime. The above is to be read and signed by all employees involved.
Reason for this is that the state controller's office wanted us to get time clocks for our elderly, so that it creates a better record of it. It's never been done before. I don't think we got, they pretty much agreed to it, haven't they, Brian? And it's not a big deal.
You've had a couple little boo-boos with it, but
But, yeah, it's we're just, it's new to us and we're getting into it. And, I think in the long run, it gives us a better record for them and us. So, you know. Need a motion or accept this policy?
I'll move it.
Second.
Is there any further discussion? Roll call vote?
Supervisor Gardner,
Yes.
Councilperson McConnell,
Yes.
Councilperson Burton,
Yes.
Councilperson Whizley,
Yes.
Councilperson LaFors. Resolution 57-215 is being offered by the town board of the town of Essex in support of the Wilkesboro Essex EMS and the services it provides to our community. The town board is most appreciative of the time and effort expended to continue to find a way to maintain this service.
This is, I think Ron can stand up and tell why this is needed. I think he did the last meeting.
I don't think anybody, it's been going on for quite a while. It's, EMTs are getting fewer and farther between, and providing coverage is more and more difficult, not just in Essex and Willsboro, but all over the state for many, many reasons. And in Essex, we're not in too bad shape right at the moment, because Frank and I are both retired and we're around most of the time. We don't have much of a life, I guess. So we're, we can cover most of our calls without much problem. Willsboro, daytime coverage is a major problem. And if we hadn't married our people when we started this process, so Frank and I helped them out up there, they would have been in trouble and would probably would have lost their ALS a long time ago. So trying to just get this going forward, just a question of time before we have to have a paid daytime person, similar to E-Town Lewis, what they're doing. And in order not to have that be an additional burden on the taxpayers, what we're doing is we're separating from the fire department, and we've already formed a separate corporation. And a separate corporation can bill insurances. And if you're part of a fire department, New York State does not allow that. E-Town Lewis gets better than $80,000 every year from billing insurance, and we haven't been able to get that. We've been relying on either donations, which is how Essex is pretty much operated on, or on the tax roll the way Willsboro has for quite a while. So we're trying to, it'll be an additional expense for a while, but I think you'll see a little reduction in the fire commissioners, what they have on for the budget. We're going to be paying them rent for the space for the ambulances, so certainly that'll be reduced, and in Willsboro it'll be more significant reduction than that. So I won't say it'll cancel out exactly, but it certainly will keep it somewhat in line. And E-Town's been very successful doing this. Other places have not been as successful. So there's no guarantee how long we'll be able to go the way we hope to go. I think if you look in your crystal ball, 20 years from now, maybe sooner, both fire and EMS will be done through the county. A lot of states, EMS has already done that way outside the cities. The counties run the whole thing. I suspect we'll end up there sooner than later, but in the time between now and then, our goal is to try to keep the services reliable, basically the same people. for as long as we can and keep it as, reasonably priced as we can. So that's what our goal is. And hopefully we'll get from here to there, and, what we're trying to do is get it, through Mountain Lake CMS, at our next meeting, which will be in July, but not take effect until the end of the year. Ed will talk later about how the two boards wanna fund this going forward, so they don't get killed by Governor Cuomo for not being able to, maintain their 2%, maximum raise. But, if we do it any sooner than that, then there's a never land between now and then, because once we're independent, we have no ability to get money from the fire commissioners anymore to pay our bills for repairs, fuel, and stuff like that. So we wanna have it, wait till the end of the year, when the new funding will be in place, so there won't be that 6 month of trying to live off the fat when we don't have much fat to start with. So that's what the plans are, and later on it'll talk about how the town boards hope to go forward and fund this, so it doesn't destroy their 2% maximum increase as far as the state's concerned. We've talked about it in enough meetings over the years. I think most everybody's heard the talk at least once, and some people a heck of a lot more than that. So, if there's any questions, I'll answer the best I can, or you can ask me later so we don't take up the time here.
Thank you, Ron.
Thank you.
Need a motion on the resolution of support, the letter of support for the EMS?
I'll move it.
Jim? Jim, Mark. Any further discussion? If none, roll call vote.
Supervisor Gardner,
Yes.
Clara Pine,
Yes.
Brian Garvey,
Yes.
Mark Grizzly,
Yes.
James Clark.
Yes.
Resolution 58, 2015 is being made to authorize Supervisor Gardner to prepare map, plan, and report for the Town of Essex Ambulance District.
What this is gonna involve, I've been to several meetings with, Sean and Wolver last night. They started their procedures towards their district. What we've gotta do, we gotta do a mapping of it, and then I talked to Reggie Bedell today, and he's gonna help us follow through on this, so we can get it on the ballot in November for everybody to vote on. Once we do have the district, then that's the way that we will tax, is on a special district. I think Ron has brought up him and the EMS have brought up a preliminary budget, or just something to look at, and their figures have come up at about 2 cents on 1,000 to do this EMS, the ambulance service for us. Sean and I kind of discussed it and said that maybe we should go to 3, because they're starting out with nothing. They have no fund balance, no nothing, so to make sure that they get into the right area with it and have enough, we figured that maybe we would have to go with 2 cents on 1,000. But just to give you an example at Ron's budget, this is without any pay. In time, there will be paid, so this is gonna go higher, say by 40,000 or 50,000 or whatever it costs to have a paid EMT. But for right now, the budget comes in at $121,500. And they're figuring that by billing, they'll get 40,000, donations another 1,000, miscellaneous 500, which comes to the funding for the towns is about 80,000. Proportionate to the population and that's
Assessed valuation.
assessed valuations. Wolfboro will be providing $56,216, and the town of Essex, $23,783. So that's what our share would be. Just a preliminary, this is not a factual we don't know for sure yet. But by doing the mapping, it starts the procedure ahead to form the district. We've gotta do, that's the first thing we've gotta do. And then, to put it on a ballot, we gotta have public hearings and everything else done by, I'm gonna say middle of August, so it can go on the ballot in November. But then we'll allow everybody in the township to vote on that district, which I think is fair. And, you know, just a reminder that the town is responsible for EMS, and the state tells you that. You've gotta do it in some way, if you got a horse and buggy, or if you're whatever you got, you know. But your EMT's gotta be there too, and so. It kinda puts you in a way in a hard spot, in a rock and hard spot, but, I think that, in the long run, it's gonna provide us with great service, and with the people we got that are loyal and good community, hard people, to Ron and Frank and all the other ones that work on this. What I'm asking for is for the board to allow me to start the mapping of this, and, start heading towards the district so that we'll be able to fund it. And they'll have their own special district, and once we get this done this year, Wolfboro and Essex, also, it's gonna come together. There's gonna be one district, Wolfboro, Essex. And that'll be for the EMS. And then, like you said, everything will be revolved around what the assessed evaluations are and everything like that. Probably the 2 cents or 3 cents will come back into play, you know, whatever the amount is, that'll determine what we put onto the tax bill. But it'll be on its own district, like the water district is. And it doesn't go into our budget, it doesn't affect our 2%.
That would be a taxing entity similar to the school district, like,
Similar but not quite.
not exactly the same, obviously, similar to sign.
Yeah. But anyways, that's what I'm asking for, is to be able to start the mapping. Okay. Wolfboro. Jim, you have that motion?
I think it's a terrific idea, and I especially like the both towns agreeing on this and getting together. It bodes well for what we are about. I'm delighted to be a part of this board. So I'll be glad to offer this as a motion that we pass resolution 58, 2015.
I'll second.
Is there any further discussion? Have a roll call vote?
Supervisor Gardner,
Yes.
Tyler Thomas,
Yes.
Brian Bird,
Yes.
Mark Brisbane,
Yes.
James Quinn.
Yes.
If anybody would like a copy of this after, just remember that this is a very preliminary, it's nothing that, you know, it's factual, but it isn't. You know, this is the best of their ability right now. But they figure it's gonna be.
Resolution 59-215 is being made to approve the financial report update document, or AUD, for the fiscal year ending 12/31/2014. No.
Well, mine's going on my kitchen table.
And everybody has.
I haven't yet. I know where it is. It's under a pile of papers.
Do you want to see it? I can get it.
Let me just look at it. I probably did that, is it that big?
It's like,
Be a while,
No. Careful what you ask for. This is somebody tell me that.
well, it's not quite as thick as this, but almost.
You know, why do we have to have this? Maybe you've already been patient with me.
You just wanna weigh it, is that?
Yeah, I want to know how much it's gonna cost us, man. I apologize for asking for it. Moving right along.
Now that you read it, you know.
Yeah, I'll make a motion. I'm gonna apologize for everything.
Get a second.
I'll second.
Any further discussion?
Right.
Not me, no, I said enough.
Okay. Roll call vote.
Supervisor Gardner,
Yes.
Claire Pine,
Yes.
Brian Garvey,
Yes,
Mark Rusin,
Yes.
James DeForest.
Yes.
didn't have that back, or put my foot in my mouth any further.
Resolution 60, 2015 is being made in appreciation of all the hard work Dr. James Van Hoven has given to the town of Essex, serving on the planning board on the amendments to the town of Essex zoning law. His persistence and dedication has allowed the town of Essex to move forward with the passing of this law.
I'll move that.
Second.
Second.
Unanimous, second.
Unanimous second. All those in favor?
Yes.
I'd like to just make a comment again. We really appreciate all the hard work that you put in. You praised us up, but you're the man of the day.
It's so fun, if I give this to Patty, maybe the stuff I read earlier on, when I can put that in the minutes, but I think those people need to be thanked. You know, what else do you do when you're retired?
I can think of some other.
I wouldn't have done it if I hadn't insurance, and it's good for the town.
Resolution 61, 2015 is being made to authorize Supervisor Gardner to sign the intermunicipal agreement with the town of Willsboro in reference to the Essex-Willsboro transfer station.
I'll just make a comment on this. Wolfsboro passed it last night. The one we looked at, Sean is gonna sign it. We'll have it probably Monday. So what I'm looking for is authorization to sign that agreement and put it in place. They were happy with it.
So it's being submitted as written?
Yeah.
It's been moved to, hasn't been any changes?
No changes. So, They were happy with it. They was split up, you know.
And that's what far
Way
away.
to go. So,
I'll move.
okay.
I'll second.
Roll call vote.
Supervisor Gardner,
Yes.
Claire Pine,
Yes.
Brian Garvey,
Yes.
Mark Rusin,
Yes.
James DeForest.
Yes.
Resolution 62, 2015 is being made to increase the 2015 budget. The adjustment is in the garden project. Expense code 8510.4.01 by $120, and revenue code 2770.01 by $120.
Just to explain what that is, this is money that was taken in by Louis, people out here on community garden gave $10 for each box last year. We put it into account, capital account, and it shouldn't have gone into that, it should have went into, just into the general funds where we pay. But we pay, you know, the lumber that we're getting that. Just a transfer of that capital. Any further discussion? Roll call vote.
Supervisor Gardner,
Yes.
Claire Pine,
Yes.
Brian Garvey,
Yes.
Mark Murphy,
Yes.
James LaFors.
Oh, no, we're
Right, halfway through one of them, you got to-
moving to the water.
Nothing just, yeah.
I'd like to take this time and have it go into the minutes of the appreciation for what the town crew did in the cleanup throughout the town, and also the installation of the pavers and the Wesley and Horse bench out here. It really did a nice job. We've had quite a few good, really good comments on how well it went.
It does look very nice.
Thank you, Brad. Thank
No
you.
problem.
It's comfortable to not sit down in front of me, so
Did you take a bite out of the donut?
I did. It was stale.
Drop that.
We need to, set a time and date for water sewer committee. Thank you. Just to go over, it's not the rates and rates or anything like that, just to go over. Rules, and, where the public are, things have changed. And like residential, small business, it's like,
Can you go like at 5 o'clock in the afternoon on a weekday? Is that too early for everybody? I don't know. Yours is good. Yeah.
or, what about you, Jim?
When do you want to do?
I was just thinking 5 o'clock in the afternoon, I can be there from work and get there and we can get it done. It's how long a meeting will be.
I'll be out of town next 12 days.
Or we can do it in June, you know, the first part of June,
First part of June.
because the village doesn't go out to the end of June.
I can meet at 5, it's no problem for me.
Wednesday's a really, really bad day for me, other than that, anytime.
What day is that?
Wednesday,
Oh,
have a PDNC. We, you know, we have to sit around, it's not easy doing that.
Kathy,
yes.
do you, you think it'd be all right, like on Wednesday for Donna?
No, Wednesday's.
No, Wednesday's
No,
not.
no,
Jim
no.
can't.
Oh, Wednesday's not good, oh,
Not
good.
good.
Okay, well, that's even better.
Because he does,
There you go.
he does nothing Wednesday, so that's not
I'm
good.
glad I get a lot of respect at this joint.
Did you say something? They listen when I talk, unfortunately.
I mean, I don't have any problem with that, other than Monday.
Any day but the 8th, which is on Monday.
You did it Saturday, not a meeting, right?
Just don't wanna wreck anybody's weekend. Send us out some dates and see which ones we can all, agree
Okay,
to.
we'll do that.
All right?
Absolutely.
Sounds good,
Okay.
yeah. Need a motion to pay the abstract?
Make a motion to pay our bills.
Yes, I'll make that.
Any discussion? Not, roll call vote,
Supervisor Gardner,
yes.
Claire Vaughn,
Yes.
Brian Darby,
Yes.
Mark. Leslie,
Yes.
James LaFors.
Yes.
On the reports, town clerk's report. Motion to accept it.
I didn't print it out because I mailed it to you 2 weeks ago, or emailed it to you. You're not gonna find it there unless you brought it.
No,
in.
I'm not looking, I just,
It's 10 pages long.
I'm sure
Look
looking,
how
I'm
it's
scared.
Here it is, right here. didn't see any problem.
It's not so hard adding up all those zeros, is it?
Need a second? Mr. Dr. Lopez?
I just wanna know what minor was sold for $38.
What?
A 2655 says minor sale.
It doesn't say that.
I had several minors that I would sell for a lot less.
Do you need the line drawn across so you can see what it?
Yeah, I saw that, okay. I move we accept it.
Roll call.
Supervisor Gardner?
Yes.
Sarah Klein?
Yes.
Brian Harvey?
Yes.
Mark Ridley?
Yes.
And James LaForest?
Yes.
Supervisor.
We did, sell off the senior van, didn't we?
Yeah.
I mean, the what?
Yeah, the old senior one.
The old senior.
Yeah, we just declared it surplus, but even flexible.
Okay.
We still have, there is a reserve fund
Yeah, that's what
in the
I'm
budget. There's 17,000 something in there.
Yeah.
You need a motion to accept the supervisor's report?
Need a second?
I'll second.
Roll call vote?
Supervisor Gardner?
Yes.
Sarah Klein?
Yes.
Brian Harvey?
Yeah. Yes.
Mark
Sorry.
Ridley?
Yes.
James LaForest?
Report, or highway report, Brad, you anything you wanna add?
No, just that we got all the sand's all been cleaned up, got the brooming done, we've done a lot of brushing here the last month, so we're gonna start a major project on the Christian Road, 1st of June. I want to finish the rest of that, and then I gotta reconstruct it also.
Just a reminder that there is chip day at the transfer station.
Transfer
tomorrow.
stations Saturday.
Brush will be accepted, no construction to be.
No,
And
And that's, I was looking at the snows and I noticed it said up to 6 inches.
yeah, we can chip it up to 6 inches.
wastewater,
The valves.
yeah,
I got major problems with my valves up there in my basements. They were installed improperly. I talked to the rep from the valve company and I sent him all kinds of pictures, and the pictures I sent you, there's this worm gear that are on the ones in my pipe tunnel. And the wheel will turn it and turn it and turn it. The ones in my basins, they have just a long stem that's like a half a turn. And they should have had the worm gear on them, mounted sideways with the stem coming out of it. None of them have that on them. They're all seizing up on me. And I have one gate valve they put in there, which I have no issues with. Works great. And what I wanna do is switch those plug valves out and get the gate valves. I don't have to do them all right now, but I do have to do 2 of them, cause I can't transfer from basin to basin. And, I still have I got 4 6-inch valves, which one of them's a gate valve. I don't need to replace that. I do have one that's working. I have one that just seized up on me the other day. I've been turning it with a pipe wrench and finally it won't turn anymore. And so I have 2 6 inches I do need replaced. The 2 4 inches, they're not a major concern right now. They're not working, but they're just for my lift station up there. I can put the wastewater from the lift station in either basin with those. They're both open, so it just goes into both basins. It's not a big, major problem. I gotta change those right now, but the 2 6-inch I do. And, the thing with them is they're flanged. You can't get the gate valves with cause they got like a collar that goes around the plug valves that they are right now. So we gotta do a little changing with the piping. It's nothing major, but I would need to get a ductile iron T just for one of the valves. The other one I wouldn't. So that price has the for the 6-inch has everything I would need to change it out with the T ductile iron in it. So I wouldn't need that for the other one, so it'd probably be a little cheaper.
What price were you talking about for, say, okay, the 2 valves that you got?
The quote for the 6-inch, let's see.
Is that 962?
1370, but that's with the ductile T, which I wouldn't need 2 of them, I only need 1. So, I need the rep from the plug valves. Gave me prices also for new plug valves, but I'd rather not go with these plug valves. AES even told Tracy and Ty to get rid of all this plug valves. So I don't know why they even put them in the design of this place. So.
On the 2 valves that you need, if you got any other, seeing that it's over 1,000, you got any other quotes? A couple, one?
This was through Blair Supply. Milken, who made the plug valves, can't even find gate valves for it. So I don't know where they got the one that's in it by that company. I can look around. I'll try to find. It's hard to get suppliers to come here and actually look.
Yeah.
You know, I don't want to give me
I
the wrong
realize
things
that.
and we find out.
That's
this
not
ain't
like
gonna
going to the
work.
hardware store
No.
trying to get a valve, so. I'm sure the board realizes that too.
I mean, if anybody wants to come up and actually see what I'm talking about, more than welcome.
You know, I've been up there to see.
These stems that turn are like 12 feet long, and there's just, he says the way they're set up is completely wrong.
I know, another item that's up there, we had the boiler company, Harper Boiler Company, come and inspected all of our furnaces and stuff. And one of the violations that we had was, on the doors to the boiler, the egress in instead of egress out, we've gotta change that. been in contact, Wayne Ryan was supposed to take a look at this. This law that says that they're supposed to egress was did in 1965. So when they put the doors wrong in 2009 or whatever they did.
They did send somebody down to look at the doors the other day. He just took measurements and looked at it and then left, so I don't know. He didn't say if they could do it or not.
Yeah. We'll have to. This is, I mean, it's not like you turn the doors or anything. Not with these.
No,
You gotta take
The whole frame.
I was gonna ask.
I don't know.
But
It's
right.
hard though, cause all the blocks, the cement blocks and everything.
Oh, I think that some is probably expired.
I was gonna say, what kind of warranty coverage do you have?
Oh, warranty's over with on the valves.
It's all over. It was either 5 turns or 5 minutes.
And them being installed as they are, they're not gonna,
Hmm.
you know, that's on,
Comes back to us then.
you know,
Well, the board has an authority to exceed this $1,000 budget.
It's something that's needed. at the
Yeah,
same
I
time.
mean, I just,
Try to get the lowest prices, I guess. That's-
right, yeah. Check out one more.
We're aware of it.
I can check with,
Even if you get a refusal not to bid, that's,
you know, I can check out a couple more and I'll,
at least now you've got a pretty good list of what you need on it, so you
yeah.
work.
Well, I definitely wanna change it to the gate valves, cause I have no issue, like I said. I have other gate valves up there that are on my reed beds, those work fine. But these plug valves are horrible.
Well, that's why, okay, then, let us know when you
Yep.
go from there. Next, you got the water report? We got a Robin down there, one of the, on the 3-phase, one of the legs of it.
Right, yeah.
Broken tube or whatever, we don't really know, but there was no, one leg was gone.
Yeah, when they cut the wire, after they hook up the new wire, they cut the wire and water just poured out of the insulation of the old wire.
Frozen broke.
Well, anyways, they changed the way it went across, they went from this pole over to the other one on the park side. And we dug, and that's all in conduit and everything. there,
Yep.
Which it should have been before, but not, it was in metal conduit. And now it's all in plastic conduit, the metal is not up to code. It wasn't, everything's up to code now, it's been tested. And, they put all the new lines down through, what, like we had the generator. and everything
Yes.
Down there.
And I wanna also say, thank you to Bob Perry for letting us use his, portable, fuel tank.
Right.
I couldn't get anybody in here to deliver fuel on the weekend.
I know Tina took, well, it's a good thing we got the credit card, she was able to go
Mm-hmm.
get people, keep that thing going, so. Nobody run out of water or anything like that, so, it's all back in working order. Also, that feeds her pump station, 2 pump stations down there, too, for, so
Mm-hmm.
that generator was taken care of all of them.
Well, at least we know now.
Yeah.
Definitely line was needed.
We had a water leak up to Nick Muller's. When Derek was up there for quite a while checking it, everything out, trying to find it. Finally, we ended up, we called Rural Water. They come down with their machine, I don't know what the cost is on that yet.
That should be free service.
But what they do is they come in and they have like a magnet, they set it on to shut off. And it's like a little pad, and they walk down through it, and tick, 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 and all of a sudden, I guess the meter tube in it, and the meter goes, like, if the water is running full 4 spot right down the plaza, he says, right there is the leak in Dixon. It was a service that, I don't think we've ever used it before. Have we, or-
He came down, the year before, and went around with me, cause we were losing water and we couldn't figure out where it was.
We can call them, you know, and they'll come down. No charge.
That's part of our membership, it's paid for through, Department of Health gives them money to help out communities.
I think we had one for free, but I think we paid for it.
I'm not sure.
I think, I'm not positive,
This is probably, this one.
because we have gotten charged for panels,
Right.
not a lot.
I guess it's quite a,
How
I
much
didn't
is
see
some of
those.
those things? That sounds like a handy tool,
Well, the thing is, if they come down and you only have a few.
but it only come once.
Well,
In this winter, we had more than.